Whether it'll be a success, well, let's see what happens as we kick off into our first game of this best of 3. To the top right-hand side, our blue Zerg. This is Bly. At the bottom left-hand side, our red Protoss from Asterion is Harstem. Thanks for actually adding all the games in TL. Most streamers usually forget. I try my best. I try my best to add them all and put them in the right order. Obviously, sometimes you have tournaments which are like open bracket, right? And then I do try, especially when we get into good matches, I try to put them up there just in case it makes people see, oh wow, you know, Zest versus Stats is on or something, right? I do my best, but obviously during the cast it can get a little bit tricky sometimes. But as far as I'm aware, I'm actually pretty sure most people can add matches to the TL calendar. Although maybe I've just been a TL calendar admin for that long that I have only ever experienced this feature while being an admin, so I've always just had that power. In which case, maybe I'm just completely wrong and not everybody can do that. Which is also a very fair possibility, a very realistic possibility, honestly. As you do see the hatchery here from Bly going to come down to get started. I casted Bly versus Harstem the other day in the tournament. I'm not quite sure what that was. But, yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was, but we are going to be, I just remember Bly losing out, but Bly lost the first game. Was it in the Ting Open? It was in the Ting Open. Bly lost the first game, but then Harstem bounced back, and they actually had some pretty long games. First game, I think Bly just got a bit too far ahead, and Harstem struggled from there, but after that, the second and third game, Harstem really felt like he was in control, even though the games were pushed into a much longer kind of stage. They really were, you know, Harstem really felt as though he knew what was up and he knew what was going on for the most part of this. So this block here from Bly, the intention is to just try and mess with Harstem a little bit. Harstem gets the Zealot out, and you can see even now, even after going Gateway, Cybercore, all of this before the Nexus, Harstem is still delayed from getting that Nexus down, so he has to build another pylon. Finally, the Nexus comes through, again, much later than usual, with the third hatchery from Bly already coming up. Of course, this isn't cheap to do from Bly. It costs him a drone, which means that's, you know, a drone that isn't mining minerals early in the game. It's a drone which is then building a hatchery. That's 300 minerals invested initially as well. And it cancels into an Evo chamber. So you've got a lot of resources, even though they're not committed. You've got a lot of resources locked up in that. And you still, with the cancels and the drone kill, 143 resources lost. It kind of does play out into a position where it's actually not that bad from Harstem. You can see that Harstem's 5 workers ahead already still. I mean, yeah, it turns out into a pretty even situation with how well Harstem dealt with this. Obviously, sometimes the Protoss players don't deal with it as well. They kind of mess up and they still don't get the Nexus down to get that the drone, build the hatchery a second time or so, and that can obviously cause even more chaos. But again, it kind of brings us out into a fairly even position. Gonna ban this person in the chat because they were an idiot yesterday, and you know, I gave them the benefit of the doubt yesterday that they just had very, you know, strong opinions. Today they've just proven that they're actually idiots. So go you managed to get banned in the first 12 minutes of the stream. That's actually impressive. One Adept goes down there. Harstem maybe a bit overzealous jumping in the first place. I mean, he got a couple lings, but I mean, that's nothing too crazy there, is it? As you see, the Stargate is on the way up, about to finish up in the main. So as Harstem gets this Stargate going, we're going to have a little bit of a lag out. This isn't me. La Baguette! Okay, looks as though we're good. And we are back in. As you do see, the Zergling is going to be chasing the Adept down toward the front, and the Zealot is going to be sat there as well. So, Zealot and Adept just kind of sat in between the buildings. As we do see, obviously, stopping the Lings from getting in or anything there. What's up, Black Spade Kamuri? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for dropping by and tuning in. Hello, everyone out in the chat. Do let me know what's up. Do let me know who you're cheering on in this group. Always very excited to hear about that. And hope to see what you guys are all up to. It's me, PGP. There's going to be a brand new replay pack. I know I've been saying this the last couple of days, and you know me. I'm terrible putting out the replay packs when I say I will. Today, I am absolutely 100%. If I don't, you can all unsubscribe. Go and just put out the replay pack. It's going to have games from Maru, Stats, Zest, a whole bunch of great players. Innovation, Sue, Solar, a lot of European players that have been playing in these events as well. So that's going out tonight. New replay pack to update things a little bit. Overlord gets taken down as we see those Zerglings from Bly looking to try and grab us around, and they will be able to get the first adept there. Forces the Oracle to come back home, and is going to be able to get some more of these Zerglings. Boyga DK says, but I don't want to unsub. Well, that's okay, because I'm not going to make you unsub, because I'm going to send out the replay pack. So there you go. Roach speed on the way, starting from Bly here in the main, in the back of the natural, not the main base, but it's close to the main base. Robotics facility drops down as well, and everything looking pretty nice and decent so far. Nothing too crazy. As I see a sentry on the way out, and a few Zerglings also just coming up to the left, and just going to be hanging out on top of the ramp. Thank you so much. It's me, PGP, rocking on up with the fresh new subscription. Thank you so much. As always, you are going to be the first to get a new decoration on the tree. Like, we've got a new set of decorations today. They're brand new colors, completely different to anything on the tree already. So you are the very first. Thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate it, as we do see those Phoenix going to be going on against a couple of these Overlords. Having to pull up towards the top side. A couple of drones getting taken down here at the moment. So 4 workers killed, not so bad. And jumping up into the main base then, looking to try and deal a little bit more damage. We'll see a couple of these workers picked off again. And again, just going to be seeing 6 drones killed off at the moment. With more Overlords still in trouble, actually. Bly is losing a lot to what is, again, only double Stargate Phoenix. I knew that as well, because we talked about it being double Stargate. Ay. He's losing a lot to this, though. I was kind of just confused about the Phoenix count. I thought it was only 5, and I was like, huh, but then it's actually, I guess, up to 7 already. I guess I miscounted. Ooh, well, now it's down to 5, because Harstem unfortunately leaves his Phoenix around for a bit too long. A counterattack at Roaches here. Those Phoenix have been so preoccupied across the map, he hasn't really gotten anything to deal with these Roaches at the moment. One Immortal on the way over, as the Phoenix will want to just lift up as many Roaches as possible to take them out of the equation, stop them from being able to just target this Immortal down. I mean, the Immortal is probably going to go down anyways. Oh, well, actually, nice lift from the Phoenix there on the Immortal to keep it safe. The problem is it's still going to drop back down into the action. Well, I guess then he can lift up again. Oh, a couple of drones coming over the map. That's definitely not intentional, as it looks as though now the Immortal will be able to push this back. Actually, a pretty good defense from Harstem. He killed about 9 workers himself. I think it was 7 in total, plus the one that wandered across the map. So, having killed 8 workers, losing 9, but he also killed so many of those Overlords, right? And now he's also going to get a bunch of Roach kills too. Lift the Immortal again, which he does. That Immortal is saved. With 2 more showing up, he's going to be able to push these Roaches away and keep this very, very safe now. Alright. So, a few Roaches down at the bottom as we see actually Bly with a lot of units going to start running in towards the 3rd base. A couple of sentries here. Going to have to be careful. As 1 sentry going down, the 2nd sentry goes down as well. Just about there. It was taking a moment or two. As we're going to see pylon cancelled at the front. Phoenix from Harstem moving forwards and are going to be coming into play here. An Immortal gets picked off. Another Immortal again saved. He's been very good with saving these. It's funny because now and again you see these Immortals saved by a Phoenix, right? Or unit lifted up to be saved. But this has actually been just consistent saving of units today with these Phoenix. And Bly is again pushed back. Harstem only really bleeding off gateway units against these Roaches, so not so bad. And if you look at what's been lost, 1 Immortal. There's a couple of Phoenix we mentioned before. The sentries are obviously very painful. They are a bit more expensive. But overall, resources lost is pretty even. And Harstem has been keeping pretty much dead even with Bly on the worker count as well. So the workers and the economy is pretty even here at the moment. And a few of those Roaches just getting pushed away through the bottom side of the map now. An Oracle from Harstem will come up to the top, and looping around here we'll try and see what it can get up to in the near future. Temple Archives, meanwhile, dropping down. It's currently just about halfway done. As you see the pylon and a couple of extra gateways being put down in the main base. Infestation Pit then from Bly gets finished in the back of the main, and that does open up some options to him. And there is one of those options immediately invested into. The Swarm Hosts are something which Bly used very effectively against Harstem to win the other day, and I think it was on Blue Shift as well, the map that Bly won against Harstem in the Ting Open. And he was able to come in with the Swarm Hosts and really just apply so much pressure over and over again with wave after wave of Locusts. I put Harstem into a bit of a tough spot in terms of cleaning up and defending, so... Interestingly enough, we saw a lot of these Corruptors made right away as well, so that's why the Swarm Hosts are coming in so late into the kind of party here, because he made these Corruptors to help push the Phoenix back, and uses them to just straight up caustic spray down a Nexus, so I mean that's a lot of Corruptors to invest into for so far not really much value, I suppose. The Phoenix are still alive, for example, and And again, would have been nice if the Phoenix had come over to start dealing some damage to those Corruptors. Maybe force them to cancel a couple of the caustic sprays, or at least get some value back. As we do see these Immortals going to be backed up by High Templars, which are just a few seconds away from getting Storm. Now, Storm is going to be really important here. Harstem doesn't have it just yet. The first couple of Locusts drop down. We'll actually just pop a couple of barriers. There's the Storm, though. It is here now. There's the Corruptors overhead. Well, they'll fight the Phoenix. Yes, maybe the Phoenix will not win that fight, but we'll keep these units somewhat pushed away and stopping them from caustic spraying anything, so not going to be another base lost. So Harstem will hit a supply block after losing this pylon. These are all little things that are going to affect him now moving forwards. He's making some Void Rays, which will help him against the Corruptors, but he does have to go through the Corruptors before it's going to be very good against the Roaches and the Swarm Hosts, just because you can't really justify only attacking, skipping out on attacking the Corruptors, because if they're around, the Voids are just going to die, right? Here we go, Storm comes down, the Locusts coming in overhead. They're trying to drop down on top of the High Templar, but they're getting dealt with pretty effectively. There's another Storm, wants to try and get rid of these Zerglings in the front lines, knowing that if he can get rid of the Zerglings, it does create a chance for these Immortals to just get on top of these Roaches. That's where they do bonus damage, and that is where they absolutely excel. Some Zealots coming through as well. It feels like Harstem is somewhat stabilizing compared to before. Those Locusts jump onto a Sentry, but honestly, I don't really like it because it just feels like they miss out on so much more potential damage. In the end, he kills off an Immortal, that could have been 2 Immortals, for example. I mean, a Sentry is nice, but I mean, for all those Locusts to dive on a Sentry that is away from the rest of the army, it just means you lose so much damage time, as the the Locusts then have to walk by the ground towards the rest of the units, which just takes absolutely forever in comparison to them flying. So, interesting little situation as Bly will take down these rocks, creates more maneuverability for the Swarm Hosts on the maps, and just allows him to get into positions a little bit more quickly and a little bit more easily to be able to put Harstem under pressure. Those units gather up out on the third base. You'll see a Ravager leading the charge of Roaches down through the center of the map, and we're going to be seeing those few Hydras continue to fight against the rocks as well. Ooh, Voids up in the sky already, picking off a couple of units as well. And here we go, Locusts rocking on up, about to show up and see what they can do. As we're all going to be seeing, well, there's the first Storm coming down. The Locusts already taking a bit of a beating there. Another Storm dropping down as well. The Locusts will drop in from the skies. We are going to be seeing, well, again, that's cleaned up, which opens the chance to actually push these Roaches away. That's going pretty well for him so far. Dodges away from those couple Corrosive Piles and still pressing forwards. These Changelings going down. But this is Harstem holding on and Bly being pushed back. Harstem's supply is, getting higher. It was 125 at one point, trying to fight against this maxed out kind of Swarm Host army. Then it was, 130, and now it's 145. Great Aspire, though, that's the big thing, the big difference that'll be kind of made going into the next stages of these fights. There's about to be Broodlords. Now, I mean, there is some Void Rays up, so there is something of an answer to these air units. Bly isn't just going to show up and be like, haha, you're in trouble now. It is going to be difficult, though, without a Fleet Beacon and Tempest or so. As the first few Locusts thrown down on that forward Zealot, again, it just means that the Locusts are already dropped down on the ground, and that is not really what you want, because it just means they drop down so far out of position. That really does have quite an effect, as we see an Observer getting taken down. Locusts will drop in. Obviously, this is Bly attempting to go in 2 different locations at a time. Harstem will cancel the 4th base, and if Bly can keep Harstem off of the 4th base for long enough, Harstem will be starved out of this game number 1. Roaches and Hydras again breaking through a set of rocks here, as we do see a single Zealot is marching forwards and actually finds a bunch of these Swarm Hosts on the bottom side of the map. Starting to deal a little bit of damage. Transfuse comes down to heal one of the Swarm Hosts up a little bit. On top, we again have these Roaches just continue to press through this Wharf Gate here. Zealots will charge in, and a couple of Roaches getting taken down. These Immortals coming up to the top, and going to be able to get rid of a few of these Roaches as well. So being able to pick their way through these Roaches taking quite a lot of damage. And they all will, for the most part, go down here as we see those Locusts. Oh, going to drop down on top of the Immortals, but then the War Prism will save them. Wow, Essential save, and he needs to keep saving them. Right now, he's busy elsewhere, kind of focused on another part of his army, so he does lose a couple of Immortals. But Bly takes some massive losses here as well. This army on the right side getting cleaned out too, as we're going to be seeing Harstem now marching down to the south. Oh, Corrosive Piles are going to hit right in the center of the army. Void Rays and Immortals both taking big amounts of damage there. 10 Corruptors now on the way up as Harstem starts to counter-attack around the map as well. Just a lone Zealot for now, but you get a few more of those over there and it's going to become a lot scarier. Again, Corruptors are coming through, but there is not going to be any real kind of Broodlord play at the moment from Harstem. I mean, his first Tempest on the way up, but it's not in this army that's already pressing forward. So I'm not sure how much he can really press forwards here, because these Locusts are just going to dive down on top of the army. And, well, Harstem is going to take a few losses from this. The Prismatic alignment on the Void Rays, they help to push those Corruptors away. Harstem does lose out on a little bit, having to fight with those Locusts. Again, not really what he would have wanted. All of these Swarm Hosts gather together off to the left-hand side. Looks as though they want to fire in towards the natural expansion. That natural has died once before this game to the Corruptors. Harstem does have his 4th base up. It's obviously very important to him as we see a couple more mortals being brought into play. Now just going forwards, and the Tempest just going to start kiting backwards a little bit. And some Zealots there. That's actually nice. Shuts this down pretty quickly. But here come those Locusts, and Harstem just has no immediate response. I mean, this Nexus will die. The Robo Facility probably will die as well. And again, these Locusts with actually just so much damage output. They kill so much there. A Nexus, a Robo. I think there was a Pylon as well. I mean, just loads of little bits and pieces that add up over time. It is crazy. Now, first Tempest are, of course, out as the Harstem doesn't rebuild that Nexus right away. He's gone into his mothership at the moment. Getting that up, and as the mothership comes up, also see Bly just getting all of these Broodlords, so intrigued to see how Harstem deals with this. I mean, yes, a couple of Tempests, but is it going to be enough? How well will he be able to defend? The fact he still has this 4th base is really nice. Puts his mothership over there. A good idea as well. Keeps it very safe from run-bys for a little bit. Zard up there just trying to scout around, gets found and taken down by a few of these Locusts. How many Broods are made? 6? And no Corruptors? Oh, no Corruptors at all. So there's actually nothing in the skies to help defend. It's going to be completely reliant on Vipers and Abduct. But not just Vipers and Abduct, but also the Hydras obviously on the ground to then actually get the kills. The easiest ways to go about things, though, is the first few Locusts here get taken down. The Broods are pushed into the south with the Queens. What's interesting here is if Harstem just goes to the south and fights this, there isn't really any support for this army. I mean, all of the Swarm Hosts are up here. The Hydras are currently out of position. There is absolutely no support currently for the Broodlords. And, I mean, there's only really these few Queens on the ground. There's not even detection here. Feedbacks on all of the Queens, so no more transfusions. I mean, here we go. The Abduct looking to come in on the mothership, which doesn't even go that far forwards. Hits the feedback on the other Viper. Oh, this is a disaster for Bly. He's going to lose absolutely everything in the sky. All of these Broodlords will go down. And the Hydras do have to back away. They're not going to be able to do very much themselves. As the Swarm Host Locusts, so many used on just a couple of Zealots that are chasing the Swarm Hosts around. Harstem knows now a lot of those Locusts on cooldown. He just dealt with a lot of the army, so immediately goes across the map to counterattack. The Crick team is going down. And we are going to be seeing the hatchery. Going to be in some trouble. Going to be seeing the Hydras having to pull back just a little bit further. Overseers taking some hits, and well, finally Harstem, after really taking a battering this game, having to wait around a little while and be the one who's been kind of just defending all the way throughout, Harstem is slowly now dragging his way into this. This is actually very similar to what happened in Harstem versus Bly the other day in the Ting Open. Harstem just took a beating for about 10 minutes straight and then takes one good fight and slowly turns it around from there. Someone's trying to come in and they see the storms coming down, of course. Very nice on top of those Hydras. The Corruptor count is pretty big, but the Void Rays are so good against Corruptors, and that's what is really just getting rid of those up in the skies. However, the Hydras on the ground will help to push through it. With the help of the Hydras, Bly is actually going to be able to take this army out. Wow! Huh. One sec. I mean, Harstem was doing okay. Here's, okay, let's just quickly look at this again. So he's doing okay, his army supply is good. Is it just the Locusts that just make this fight so bad for him? He drops the Storms, his High Templars are okay. 2 High Templars at the back don't have energy. Maybe he just took the fight too soon, like, he didn't have the energy he needed on all the High Templar. I guess the Locusts just sat there dealing masses of damage because he never for subs and donations and the support in general. So we kick this off, guys. This is our final European group of 2018 has left the game, which means that at the end of today we will be drawing the European playoffs to see who's going to be playing who for a chance to complete in the global playoffs when the European and the Korean servers will cross. To the top left-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Asterion Gaming. This is Harstem. And to the bottom right, our red Zerg player is Bly from Tullen's Lions. How is that tree still standing? I thought I broke it yesterday, says Filthy Rake. Yeah, it's still okay. It's honestly, it's still doing alright. I mean, the fact that I found somewhere to put the baubles literally in the middle of the tree, now that was a genius plan, but I got more hangers today, so maybe with a few more being hung up, then who knows? Who knows if the tree will die? Honestly, I think this tree is just a lot more resilient than people are giving it credit for. I don't think people realize just how great it is. It was your wallet that broke? Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Yeah. Alright, Proxy Hatch again here from Bly. And Harstem did just message me. He likes to whisper me between games. We're pretty good friends, me and Harstem, I would say. He whispered me after the game. He's like, God damn, these Proxy Hatches ruining my builds and stuff. And so again, while it doesn't look necessarily that it's going to be... Obviously, it looks like it throws him off, right? He's going Cybercore before Nexus. He makes a Zealot he never usually builds, right? So, he's building a, Zealot he never usually builds. It's not designed for Harstem to have a normal build from here, or his timings are definitely going to be off. So, it is interesting. And again, it puts Bly maybe into more of a comfort zone than it allows his opponents to be. And that's why Bly does it. While he isn't maybe necessarily ahead in workers or other things, it's kind of the comfort zone and how easily you deal with kind of readjusting your build to deal with this. That's going to be the bigger issue, as we see Bly just goes straight up into Hatchery on his natural. Hatchery on the third base gets started as well. His gas is already mining, so he's getting up towards 100 gas here. And as he gets up towards 100 gas, he'll be able to start up that Zergling speed. A few more drones just on the way out at the moment. Yeah, now stealer gas. I mean, this is what Bly will try to do, though, and the players are so well aware of it that the last time I saw Bly try and steal gas, there was probes moving around in advance to be able to deal with it. It was pretty insane, actually. It was pretty insane. Alright. Well, just going to be seeing the drone moving around the top side. Is Harstem just going to ask for a quick pause? Harstem is probably the most frequent pauser that I've ever known in StarCraft 2. And it's always for just a quick moment or so. I think it's when his YouTube music switches to something he really dislikes, or something along those lines. As you see the extractor hopping down onto the natural. And again, a little bit of an annoyance there, but to kind of hit away at it shouldn't be too big of a deal, all said and done. Oracle on the way up then from the Stargate. Obviously last game he went into double Stargate Phoenix. He was able to honestly do quite a lot of damage with the double Stargate Phoenix. It was just a bit of a shame that he started to lose a couple of them here and there, which then made the further harassment was a little bit kind of off from where it was meant to be. Oracle heading down to the bottom right hand side of the map, and again just going to be seeing that extractor just jumping onto the geyser once again. Second Stargate once more here, so Frostman's down on the natural as well, where he's hoping that this Overlord is not going to get the scout, but a little bit too late. Bly sees it right away. I wonder if Harstem's going to cancel that there and change up into something else after the Overlord goes down, or if he is just going to stick with it. Because while it's nice for Bly to scout it, it's still not a build that relies on your opponent not scouting it, right? Yes, of course, now Bly can sort of begin to prepare and begin to deal with this by getting Spore Crawlers set up, adding extra queens, overmaking Overlords sometimes as well, just to make sure that even if you lose one or two, it's going to be okay. It's going to be one of those little things as well. It's going to be an adept kill. So, that's nice, but obviously the Phoenix will still find ways to be aggressive. They'll still find some damage, and they'll still put Harstem in a pretty reasonable position to move forwards from. Why didn't Bly cancel his gas? I mean, I guess eventually it gets to this point where you just... you miss cancelling it, you're kind of busy elsewhere, you're trying to do other things. It's just one of those little mistakes there more than anything else. Alright. So. Sling's going to grab that probe, and you're just going to be seeing the Zealot taking some damage as well. A couple more Zealots popping up here from Harstem, and obviously looking to help out. Those Ling's going to go running away up to the top side, and well, meanwhile, coming across the map, a whole bunch of Phoenix are going to be coming to, again, see what they can start getting up to. Oracle just being left here, though, and is up to 10 kills, just pushing those Zerglings back. As the Phoenix see the Queens, but 5 Phoenix, 3 Queens with another one coming in. Probably a better idea to back away than anything else here. So Harstem pulling back just a little bit. A few Zerglings hanging out over to the left-hand side. We're going to be seeing another sentry being warped in. All of this getting set to go as we see a couple of robotics facilities also being dropped down in the natural expansion. As we see these Phoenix from Harstem going to fly forwards, and they are going to be able to get rid of that Overlord. Forge coming up in the back of the natural then, and again the Phoenix going to come around the right side. Twilight Council also going to drop in the main. Getting that Twilight Council up, and Harstem just opening up his options here at the moment as we do see the Phoenix coming forwards. Man, Bly is just so ready for that. He already pulled his drones away. For a moment, I was just here, right, and I just didn't see any drones. It's like, why is there no drones in his main base mineral line? Well, Bly was just being a little bit too good, pulling away in plenty of time as a Phoenix going down there, and well, again, nice little pick off. The more of these Phoenix that Harstem loses, the less effective they're going to be harassing further on, and that's another dead Phoenix. You can see it when they kind of moved in, and of course it was going to be the one that actually lifted something. Well, it's just a little bit of a shame. 2 Immortals on the way up on the robot facilities. We do see those Zealots pushing the Lings away from the third base. The Ling's going to loop all the way back around, and once another Overlord goes down as well, we still see some Creep and some Hydras pushing forwards too. Templar Archives drops into the main base from Harstem. Gets that set to go as the charge upgrade also coming into play. And a Baneling Nest coming down on the natural supply. Getting himself into this Bane Nest here as we do see again the Phoenix just going to go flying all the way back over to the far left hand side. And the Hydra is going to be continuing to come forwards. Able to push it away though. So still a Phoenix not finding too much more damage. Resources lost 1350 to 850. For, you know, a double Stargate Phoenix style. It's actually not that great a setup for Harstem. Like, he hasn't dealt that much damage, as you'll find a little bit more now. If they get that Overseer, that's quite nice, because obviously that costs gas to build as well. So it's not just an Overlord, it's like an advanced Overlord. And he is just going to recall out, realizing that he's a little bit stuck in the corner, but another Phoenix going down while he gets that damage done. Again, just a little bit, not really reckless. I wouldn't say he's being careless or anything with the Phoenix, just needs to be a little bit more on top of the control. It's not like he's just flying them overhead of units and stuff like that. It's that he's maybe just getting a little bit greedy here or so, just little bits and pieces. Anyways, Hallucination comes all the way over to the right as Hydra's going to start pressing forwards. And they are going to come right up in towards these gateways and cannons that are currently building. A couple of cancels there right away. High Templar have warped in, a couple of Zealots too, and well, some Banes are going to try and roll in towards those High Templar. The Zealots pulling back here. Oh, that one Zealot actually tanks so much of the damage. That's so important. Storm is ready, so Harstem is able to get Storm off on a couple sets of these Hydras already now. And, well, he's going to want to storm these Banes as well. Didn't want to storm while they were still morphing, because then they just regenerate when they finish. These are some pretty good storms all in all, I feel. Not many Hydras Banes left over. The Hydra's definitely weakened up. Let's see what these Banes can do now. There is still a few of them left over, and they are waddling around, but there's no armor or attack upgrades on them, so they're not one-shotting probes at least. You're going to see some Phoenix lifting up some of these Hydras. The Immortals will try and fight this out. There's only a couple of Immortals left, but Harstem will hang on here. And obviously now he can chase down for these last few Hydras as well, just to get a bit more of a positive outcome from all of this as it's all said and done. Bly will gather units up again. He makes 10 more drones, going up into that 80 to 90 drone range. Suddenly the 80 to 90 drones means he's going to be able to trade, and just keep on trading. You want to trade a lot and frequently, because you're not going to ever have a large army because you have so many workers. Your army supply can never be that high. But it means that you've also got a little bit more income than usual, so those trades are a little bit more affordable. The idea is to just try and break the pros down with consistent pressure. Although, that said, he is also going into the Hive and the Spire, so maybe just wants those drones to build up some stack defense and some other structures while going in towards the later stages of the game as well. As we are going to be seeing just pulling back and just getting a little bit of damage done. Roxy are going to be taking some shots too. As we see the +1 missile attack upgrade on the way from Bly. On the left side, Banes roll in, and while 5 probes isn't too many, but so many of these probes are now low, the Baneling connection in the future can obviously get a lot more done. All of these Zerglings coming up out the left-hand side. Going to try and see what they can do, as we have on the right-hand side these Hydralisks also gathered up. Morphing in 11 Banelings here. Fly going to be able to roll us forwards in towards that left-hand base. Perhaps we do see a stasis ward going off, catching a Zergling. Again, these Hydras trying to come in here to make something happen. Here come these Banes now. A few Phoenix over here, 1 high tempo for Storm. He warps in a couple units to block, and it will do a decent amount, that little block there, but the Banes do eventually make it into the mineral line. Already 8 kills as Harstem trying to push away this army on the right side at the same time. He's fairly successful there. Again, 9 probes lost, but he's remaking them pretty fast and almost at a rate in which I kind of feel it's okay for Harstem to be losing these workers. I mean, it's weird because when is losing workers ever okay? Well, it isn't really, but yeah, it's interesting. Ling's up at the top side, picking off a Zealot actually. So Zealot going down there, as we are going to be seeing. Oh well, Ling's wanted to try and come through, but weren't able to. And it's able to push those back pretty quick. And there's that War Prism going to come down at the right side. This is something that we never really saw Harstem get to do in that last game. War Prism play never really kind of came to fruition. Corruptor's on top of it pretty quickly though, which means that there's not going to be a big warp in. If he even makes it to the base, so many Corruptors, War Prism goes down. Unfortunately, Harstem figured out before he can even get started. It's unfortunate. We do see Harstem with the rest of his army then still just kind of setting up on this 4th base. As that gets picked off, as all of those things go through, Broodlords 8 more of them moving in, and again we get into that later stage game of the game again. This time there's no Swarm Host though, so I'm intrigued to see how Harstem is able to handle this, because I still feel the one thing Harstem really lost to in that last game was the Swarm Host and the Locust in the fight. So I wonder how it will go this time around, as he is getting up into his Tempest, he's getting his Mothership out as well. Up the right side, Alone Immortal and an Observer for some reason gets picked off. A few Zealots running on the far left, but there's so many Spine Crawlers here, Harstem will be unsuccessful with his attempt to push forwards. He's going to send more Zealots, but I mean, you're going to need a lot of Zealots to break through these spines, especially because they're kind of choked up in the background. It's not really possible to get a big full surround, and again, I mean, 3 Zealots were never going to get a full surround anyways, so it's going to be a little bit of a tough cookie to crumble there, isn't it? As we see Zealots just wandering past that base on the bottom side and up the high ground. Gentlings do come in this around that Zealot, and Hydra's able to pick off an Oracle there, as we do see the Tempest trying to see what they can do. First Storm comes down, it's pretty good actually. It's a few of those bruises. The Tempest are starting to wail away on the Broodlord, starting to force these Queens to use their transfuse energy, starting to bait units forwards. Extra pylons coming down again. 50 Zerglings currently in production. Bly getting a lot of Lings here ready to run up in towards this 4th base. Broodlings coming down. There's the Tempest from a distance, able to pick off one of those Broodlords. Firing away once again is going to be seen. Oh, the Immortal! That's going to go down as well, unfortunately. So an Immortal also fallen here. Again, Tempest in play at the moment. A couple of Abducts as Tempest do go down. Some Storms being dropped. Queens and Broods pressing forwards, picking away at these cannons. I mean, Harstem has to start giving up the 4th base. He's trying to take a new base in the back, but Ling's already running by towards it. And again, the damage output from these Tempests is not enough to really slow this down or push this back at all. So Harstem's going to be reset down to 3 bases. somewhat hoping, I guess, that maybe Bly overcommits here and that he's going to be able to take a good fight, and then maybe his counterattack can get something done. So many changelings just hanging around here, just kind of ready to kind of block Harstem from moving where he wants to. Drops a storm on them to clean them up ASAP, but obviously that's not really efficient. Changelings are even freer units than swarm hosts in a way, because they're coming from overseers. Here you go, Tempest start to fire forwards, and well, the Brutal one's now getting one shot, so a little bit more hope and potential, but I mean, units are going to start breaking through into the natural any moment now. There's the Abduct on the mothership once and twice over. Now there's no cloaking anymore as well, so no longer does Bly have to deal with that kind of aspect of the Protoss army that is obviously so often so good. There you go, the Brutes pushing in, the Queens going forwards as well. These Brutes do start to go down. The Queens kind of on their own here as well, getting picked off, and yeah, a fair amount of energy left on them. I feel like Harstem cleans this up, and you know, he'll maybe even take a supply lead just slightly for a few moments while Bly decides what to rebuild, but I have to question, did Harstem just take too much damage? Back base that he tried to rebuild, taken down. Fourth base, picked off during the fight. So really, as Harstem comes forwards now, he has to make a decision. How much does he try to re-expand here, and how much does he just try to go across the map and end this game? While Bly's tech choices are going to be somewhat limited, obviously, as, oh, well, those lings running by from the fourth base, or that back, what was going to be the fifth base, I suppose. Runs straight into a mineral line that was unprotected, and that's 14 probes going down. Harstem has just fallen into a worse and worse position as Bly is looking good in the first series of the day. Archon here on the low ground getting a few more Zergling kills. Will pick up one final one as well. Sometimes Bly just shows up, and when he macros, it's actually surprising because we expect him to kind of cheese and be aggressive and proxy hatch and everything, but he really has been very impressive with the macro the last few days, and today really seems to just have Harstem's number. Whatever Harstem tries, Bly seems to have a pretty decent hold on it. Still a little bit worried about Bly's army, though. I still think it's worth keeping in mind, guys, that Harstem has got this army to work with, and while he isn't re-expanding, it just means that he is all in, which kind of makes it even more terrifying in a way, because he does have quite a lot, Harstem. His income is obviously nowhere near what Bly's is, but well, some real potential as we see Zealots being warped in there, mostly just being kind of dealing with run-bys and so on. Also trying to decide where to fight from. Pulls back these few Corruptors coming ahead of the rest into the Tempest. They're not going to have much fun. A Balin or two just kind of trails forwards as well. We're going to see some Hydras picked off also. Drops down this coolant towers to the rocks now. Will force Bly to attack in from one single direction. Starts charging forwards to again clean up that run by. And again, just as a Hydra or so comes out, Bly is starting to run out of money. And Harstem's army is still looking pretty good here. In fact, Harstem's army is still looking very good here at the moment. Tree Tilt still taking some shots. Will now go down. Spore Crawlers, a couple of those getting burrowed too, and I mean, there's nothing to really support them, right? So they're just doing shield damage. Again, nothing really too amazing. So losing a couple of Zealots here and there, but again, Harstem does have some mining, so not the end of the world. As you can see, Bly is just setting up for this one final potential defense. All he has to do is get rid of this army, but I mean, these Tempests are just picking off unit after unit for free. I mean, here comes the Stasis Ward dropping down, that'll bait some units forwards, maybe catches some as well in the fight. Maybe Bly didn't even notice that was happening, because as he runs forwards here, it goes off on a few Banes that got picked off. But again, those Banes got picked off basically for free. First Storm in a long time from Harstem. Hits well to kind of ward units off. The Banes crashing into Archons, exactly what Harstem wants to see here at the moment, as he's now 114 to 60 supply. And the counterattack from Harstem is looking so powerful here. He's still pushing forwards. Another Storm, a couple Hydras tagged up in it. And, well, I mean, as another Storm comes down on those Hydras, I think this is over. I actually don't think Bly gets enough units out to defend. He's still dropping down Storms, keeping those Side Temple alive. Loses one, being targeted by Hydras. I just don't know, do you ever kill off these Tempests? I guess is the big issue, right? Like, these Tempests just do not seem to die. There goes one, but there's still so many of them up. Both players are now dropping in supply overall. 87 to 100 to 77, but it is Harstem in the lead. He warps in 6 more Zealots. We'll see where they end up going. And there's, yeah, he is just slowly but surely taking down base after base after base. Warps in another Archon here of the Lings coming forwards. Keeps those High Templar alive, still has Storms on them. Again, as the Squawkler goes down here now, this base is open to attack as well, and Bly does not have an option other than to type GG. It's so awesome. It's really, really sick. So, let's do this to the bottom right-hand side. I'm a red Protoss player. This, my friends, is Harstem. Top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Bly. These are our best free matches today. We're going to have 10 played in total. We'll see how many of them we're bringing to you on stream. If we have longer games like this, well, it's very possible that we have not so much brought. Thank you so much, Munscott. 832 for the 25 bits and the hashtag charity. I didn't even know we were doing a hashtag charity on Twitch. It's the first I've seen it. So 7,460 total raised. 15 more days to show support. Let's check that out, guys. If you want to cheer bits, make sure you add hashtag charity. It basically means that you donate to charity while cheering the bits just as usual. And also, oh wait, no, there must be something else. Oh yeah, they'll donate 20 cents for every 100 bits you use to direct relief. So there you go. So every dollar you cheer on the stream, as long as you hashtag charity, you will get to add an extra 20 cents to charity. So you donate $1 to me, you donate $1 to charity. You donate 20 cents to charity. There you go. Check that out then. Get your bits ready. We got a couple of red bitboard leaders at the moment this time. I don't know if we've ever had. This is 100% a bait, by the way. Please feel free to bite. I don't know if we've ever actually had 3 10,000 plus bits as our top cheerers for the month. I feel like we've only ever had 1 or 2 is very rare, like we have right now. That is actually very rare. I don't think we've ever had 3 10k plus bits on a month. Huh. Just thinking. It's a bait. You guys can bite if you want. Or you can just be like, Wardy, shut up and talk about the game. Well, I'm sorry. Jap does kill a Zergling. Which, we can also see, I mean, Phoenix coming down on this Stargate, so getting that going. A few drones coming down as well, and yeah, Link Speed just going to be finishing up on the spawning pool in the next few moments. Adept will cancel its shade, not going to commit in there. Port Alexander as a map will play fairly differently to the previous maps, I feel. Very standard. The central area of the high ground is very kind of crucial, I think, and going up to 3 then 4 bases, it kind of feels like maybe a swarm host map again. Maybe similar to Blue Shift in that sort of regard. Phoenix is going to be picking off that Overlord, so Overlord going down, I mean, that's kind of what the Overlord is meant to do here, though. It's just meant to get a little bit of initial scout information, force the Phoenix, etc. Twilight and a Robo very quickly from Harstem doesn't even go in towards the Oracle. Now, sometimes if you bypass the Oracle here, this turns into a very aggressive kind of charge follow-up, because you have that extra gas to what you might usually have, where you go Oracle then Twilight Robo. So, and obviously the Twilight and the Robo is very fast, so just trying to get that up ASAP here without messing around with an Oracle or anything. Resonating Glaives, okay. I mean, could still also be kind of a lot of gateways with this and try and see what's going on. Game lagging a little bit? Feels like we're laggy. Phoenix looked as though it was stuttering here and there. Hopefully nothing too serious. As you do see 4 more Overlords on the way out. That Robo facility is about to finish over in this main base. So Prism coming up, I would imagine. Get some warp-ins here with the Adepts. But it does look as though it's only going to be the 3 gateways. We haven't seen anything else added on just yet. Harstem looking as though he will move down towards the 3rd base. Just has to protect this probe, which is exactly what these couple of Adepts are for, and boom. 3rd Nexus drops on down. So it is just going to be some Adept pressure to move forwards in this game. And again, just changing the game up a little bit from what we've seen before. Obviously, this game Bly did not try to proxy hatch either, so that's also a big benefit for Harstem, where, you know, it's something he didn't have to worry about and kind of just allowed to do his own build this time around. So see if it works out for Harstem, who just was able to have just about enough to clean up that last game. It was a very close little situation. Now here comes an issue. There is no Oracle, so there's no real stable way of dealing with these Zerglings, so he will just have to cancel the 3rd base. And that's going to become very frustrating if he has to keep on doing that, as we do see 3 more Adepts added in. I mean, the Zerglings are just going to keep themselves up to the side here, knowing that that's a very good option for them. These Adepts are going to keep themselves here, though, and with 3 Adepts in the mineral line, or in the pylon Nexus wall-off, there's not going to be much you can do otherwise. 15 Roaches on the way from Bly, so he's going to make a massive amount of units ready to deal with these Adepts as they come forwards here. 3 more Adepts warping in. Now, Harstem will see this as he shades forwards here in the next few moments. So the Adepts going to be shading through and heading up in towards the main base, but then having to cancel themselves, we do see a couple of observers, or an observer, helping to clean up a couple of these creep tumors. I mean, Bly is still making roaches with a lot more overlords on the way. Kind of feels like he just wants to make units, although that's a lot of overlords that he made. I mean, he's not going to have to make overlords for the rest of the game now. He's actually going to be, what, 109 out of 200 for a second then? No, not quite. 123 out of 200, though. That's actually kind of crazy. And he has 2 more overlords on top of that, so he can lose a couple. That's funky. Oh, these Adepts getting a little bit surrounded here as Bly does leap on them. Finds himself an opportunity to get some damage done. Adepts will just try to run. Probably feels like because they're taking constant damage anyway, they should have just turned to kind of dish out some damage themselves. But I can understand that's also not a great situation as a few Lings catch up with some of them here. And now these Adepts are in trouble once again. So Harstem suddenly just lost a lot of units. He's got 1 Immortal out. He has some force fields available in the sentries, but this is not going to be an easy hold. 5 extra gateways on the way through. He starts a Void Ray as well, realizing he really might be in a lot of trouble. Really hoping that these force fields can bind him sometime. So here we go. First 2 force fields are very well placed. The initial Immortal doesn't take a barrier shot as well either, so it still has its barrier up to defend. And Immortal number 2 is about to join the fray, so now it already becomes a little bit easier than what it was before. However, we see obviously a much larger kind of position for attack here from Bly. A couple of preemptive force fields already. Bly thinks maybe I can grab those warp gates, but he does go very far forwards there. I was going to say he's going to get cut in half, and his roaches will maybe have some trouble. Unfortunately, the force fields do fade / get corrosive bound, which means that he is able to save the majority of those. This is still not fun for Harstem. He's had to make a ton of sentries that he probably didn't initially want to make as many of, at least not right away. Sometimes we do see that build which is kind of following on from the Resonating Glaive Adepts. You go into like the Immortal Sentry Adept kind of follow-up push, but I don't think that was really Harstem's goal this time around. I think the sentries were much more just a reaction to realizing how many roaches were made. So a lot of gas invested by Harstem, when otherwise he might have wanted to build Templar Archives just a little bit sooner or so. Void Ray hanging out in the middle of the map. So there's this army moving around here now. In this stage, Harstem is obviously able to set himself up nicely into that PvZ mid-game. Great hallucination here as well. Sees the Spire, so he knows about the potential of Mutalisks. Knowing about that possibility is something that Bly loves to rely on. He might start making some Phoenix. However, there's also an Infestation Pit down. Do you see the Infestation Pit too? He does. So he sees not only Infestation Pit, but then the Spire. So he can expect a couple of things here. Again, Swarm Hosts initially, and also then potentially Mutas. So you kind of have to prepare for both, but in a way, actually, if you make Phoenix against the Mutas, they actually help against the Swarm Hosts too. You can help to shoot down Locusts as they fly in. He goes second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon, so I wonder if his plan is Phoenix. Okay, he starts up one now. I was wondering if it was going to be Phoenix or if he was just thinking about maybe just going straight up towards Tempest already. Which wouldn't be bad against Swarm Hosts either if you can shoot them from a distance. This one Void Ray has been a little bit annoying, just picking off a roach or two. Just helps to kind of keep this army of Bly pinned back a little bit, and given a lot of good map control as well to Harstem, which comes in quite cheaply as well, as we do see Hallucinations going to go, well, one of them towards the main base. The other one going to start chasing their army down. Hallucination flies over the natural as we do see some Lings running by. Harstem has had a thing with not being able to keep its 4th base alive in this series, and that's going to stay very true right there as the Ling is good enough to get the cancel out. The Sunray still taking some damage as the Roaches, the Ravagers, gathering up, going to start pressing forwards. Swarm Hosts on the bottom side are going to pop up, but oh! A few of these Locusts already going down on towards a few Zealots there. And again, that's obviously fantastic for Harstem having those Locusts on the ground so soon. And these Locusts aren't going anywhere useful either, so Bly's messed up with this wave of Swarm Hosts. He's not actually been able to get anything done with this. Archon, Sentries, and Immortals all moving through the top side. Oh, he's going to grab some Swarmers here. Those are really nice force fields. Bly getting caught off guard there, and Harstem has seen that opportunity with his Observer. Comes forwards, and what a great opportunity. Great takes. Maybe he could back away from these Locusts now, but he's killing them so quickly that it actually isn't making much of a difference. No, just still sat up top as we're going to see pushing forwards here. A couple of splits. Ooh, that sentry is so nearly going down. Just about survives. Force field's coming down, and those roaches getting picked off. More crosser bars up in the sky here. We still see pressing forwards. Harstem is just getting so many free pickoffs here. Another set of force fields do so much damage. The sentry is obviously something he had to make to survive earlier, but now turn it into a very, very aggressive, useful tool. And getting a lot done here as we're going to be seeing that hatchery going down. Already a few drones just running away to the top right side. But now this game, Bly is the one that's losing bases, not Harstem. It's a complete turnaround from what we've been seeing throughout the series. And Harstem, well, he's still pushing this first. Broodlords are on the way up. Harstem's already making carriers back at home, though, by the way. Where are those Broodlords coming into play? In the back of the natural. Harstem will see the Greatest Spire. Obviously, too late to stop it coming in now. Locust dropping down. We got some good damage before they fade out there. Because Harstem's going to lose his army. Especially with the Broodlords here, and there's no real way for him to pull away. Zealots charged by. Bly is down to 58 workers against 78, but he's up by 40 army supplies, so maybe he can kind of do a Harstem. Harstem in that last game, no economy left at all, but had an army to work with, and he was able to use that army to win the game straight up, so maybe that's what Bly can use here. As, this is game 3 of, again, just our first series today, guys. It's been an hour-long series. This is what we like to see, some nice, longer games. It's awesome. Someone's to the top right hand side. Again, just going to be seeing the few units over the left. So here comes a recall to deal with these swarm host locusts. Recalls in, just going to be able to. Oh, I guess recalls the mothership, and I guess it just cloaks everything up. So, in the end of the day, nothing too crazy. Again, Harstem building these carriers behind that previous attack means he does have an answer to the Broodlords, though. And while Harstem's army supply might not be huge, the army supply of Bly that can fight against carriers is pretty minimal. 8 Corruptors is about it. So that's going to be Bly. Looking very good here as again those carriers pulling back down to the bottom right. The Zealot's still charging forwards, going to be able to kill a queen. And a couple of these drones going to be hunted down and picked off as well. Let's go running up to the top side of the map here as we do see those locusts going to jump up, and they're going to be dropping down in towards this right hand side too. A cannon going to get healed up by a shield battery again. Just this cloaking basically keeps the majority of important units very safe because there is no overseer, no swarm host. The 3 that are left is not really doing all that much at the moment. Bly not finding a lot of value here out of his 3 units. Couple of units popping around as we do see the Void Rays, a couple of them on the way up here from Harstem as well. A lot more cannons being added into play. Again, there's a couple of Zealots just picking off some creep tumors, getting some damage done. Corruptors coming in from the top. Gonna come all the way down into the center here too. And there's a couple of Zealots chasing around and going after creep tumors. Kind of funny that the mothership's just kind of being left here on defense to do, although moves out of position at kind of the wrong time. He's on his way back over, but not before 12, 13 workers have gone down. So Bly is finding some damage still. Again, bits and pieces around the map as we do see some Zealots now up the left-hand side are going to be looking to drop into the back of the natural, it would seem. Try and run around, cause some havoc over there. Forward, 5th Nexus also dropping in play from Harstem. As you see the Broodlings killing off a couple of these Zealots in the center. Here go the Zealots. Warping in, going to sort of charging straight in towards the Greatest Spire. And that one Zealot in the back is having a bit of a nightmare. Corrosive Battle's going down. The Spire will not fall. Harstem is just going to still sit back and be very cautious. Game 1 was about 18 minutes long. Game 2 was just over the 20-minute mark. We're in this third game now, 16 minutes and counting. It is looking to be the longest series maybe of our entire tournament so far. We've had a couple of long games, I guess, here and there. We had a game that ticked over 30 minutes the other day. That's pretty crazy, too. Corruptors and Vipers to the top right-hand side, going to gather up with those Swarm Hosts. I mean, if he can get in there and kill a few carriers for cheap, that would be nice. And a lone Archon left in the center of the map. Oracles on the way from Harstem. You might think, why build 3 Oracles? But it's just how useful the Revelations are. Being able to kind of have Revelations always available and throw them down as soon as you kind of see an army hunting around for armies with those Oracles. It makes a lot of sense. So useful to see the Corrosive Battle, and the Phoenix doesn't quite kill it. Feedback comes down on the Infested just as the shot goes down to kill the Phoenix. Fungal Growth hitting quite a lot of the army. Single High Templar is leading the charge. Storm goes down to push those units back now. First few Interceptors start coming off and onto a Queen. That goes down pretty fast. More Infestors on the way up. Supply really trying to find a way to fight against these carriers and Interceptors that they bring with them. Going all the way up through the center. The far left-hand side, going to be seeing a Zealot still having some fun as well. Roaches jumping in there and also getting some damage dealt. As you see these Archons able to pick up a couple of Spore Crawlers. A couple of Spore Crawlers going down, and well, more Spores still coming forwards here as well. An Archon getting caught. There's the Storm on a few of the Corruptors. Interceptors just getting the job done though, and Harstem has been slowly pushing his way across the map into location here. And well, we are now going to see a lot of drones going down. Bly has a lot of money in the bank. I just wonder if he'll really get given the chance to spend that money. Infestor wanders into the army here. Mistakes being made currently by our Zerg player, although those Broodlings on top of the High Templar. The High Templar were really on a bit of a journey there, weren't they? Time Warp comes down, which is going to make some of these units have a little bit of trouble. And is just going to give him the position as well. He really wants to pulley his way up this ramp here. He has once again got a Zealot in the natural expansion. He's brought so many of those structures low. Jumps straight on the Vipers there. Feedback Storms and well, the carrier shots as well. Getting a couple of kills. Interceptors getting Fungal Growth now means they cannot attack anywhere near as quickly as they would like to. It's in fact kind of incredible how amazingly good Fungal Growth is against Interceptors. Bly is bleeding out in supply, and the issue is as he remaxes, the units that he's remaxing with are going to be popping out next to all of these units of Harstem, and so he's going to be able to pick them off 1 or 2 at a time as they kind of fly together between the hatcheries. These few Interceptors still just now fighting Infested Terrans even. Probably wants to back away from there and keep all of his carries on as high Interceptor counts as possible. No reason to fight 3 units. Zealots coming forwards here, and we're just going to be seeing them going straight towards this left-hand side base. A couple of Oracles still around as well, keeping those Revelations active. This army actually joins up with the Zealots here, and this is actually just going to be an Overlord farm if he wants it to be. He's chasing the Corruptors though for the moment, knowing how important that's going to be. Getting the Spore Crawls, the anti-air static defense, anything that can potentially slow him down. I mean, the Overlords don't really need to kill them when Bly is having so much trouble anyways. The last thing you want to do is lose out on your army. As the Void Rays get going on the Corruptors, we talked about how powerful they are. There's some nice biles though. Allows the Void Rays to, well, the Ravagers to kind of get some damage onto the Void Rays. More Corrosive Biles down again, and not quite connected on anything just yet, as we do see those Corruptors still taking quite a lot of damage. There it is, GG. Harstem